All right, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting day of mathematics. Whoop, whoop. Warm-up 88 is on the screen. By now, that should be automatic, right? You're waking up square roots, right? Am I right? Am I right? Okay. Or synthetic division. All right, let's see how you do with that. Copy it and go. All right, for the sake of time, show your neighbor what you got for the warm-up, please. I'm not going to go over this one because we need to get right straight to the sessions for today. But show your neighbor what you got for numbers 1 through 5. I'll give you some time for that. Go. You got something different, give them $5. Just kidding. All right, we good? Yes? All right, here we go. Copy the agenda, please. Agenda for today, warm-up number 88, parabolas, and tonight you only have 6 problems for parabolas. We're going to rewrite the equation for them and also graph them. So we already got all our coordinate planes ready, right? Everybody ready with that? Yeah? All right, good. Nicely and evenly distributed, all the tallies, yeah? Yes, Mr. Q, thank you. All right, you're welcome. So once again, here goes a quick, once again, note or notice, put away your AirPods and cell phones. Oh, I forgot. Bah. My goodness. All right. All right. So, with that said, copy the code for tonight, J35WB, J35WB. Home play will be, home play would be in there, so make sure you get that code, J35WB. Those of you that are following on YouTube, make sure you copy that code so you can have access to the home play. Okay. All right, so with that said, get the first paper with the coordinate plane in front of you, the 2 coordinate planes, and at the bottom left, write the objective for today. Objective for today, I can write and graph a quadratic equation of a parabola. I can write and graph a quadratic equation of a parabola. So at the bottom left of your paper that you did the 2 coordinate planes, write the objective, please. And at the top of the paper, for the title, just write parabola. So like that, you know that this is where we're starting. Okay? All right, once again, what are we doing today? We are looking at parabolas again. But the 2 tasks for today is to write and graph. We're going to write and graph. Okay? So today's going to be one of those days that I'm going to have concepts over concepts, and then several things that we're going to do. So stay focused, please. If you have your color pens, have those handy. Put away your Chromebooks. All right? So, with that said, remind your neighbor the definition of a parabola without looking at your notes. Definition of a parabola without looking at your notes. And right away I saw Rylan say, oh, I got this, Q. All right, I see you. All right, Rylan. Noah got it. Very good, Noah. Appreciate it. All right. Bree's got it. She's sharing all her knowledge right there around with people. All right. Rebecca's got it. Okay. Oh, yeah. We got this. Well, let's go with Jacob M. since he's very prompt and listening to instructions of putting away their mobile devices and stuff. So, Jacob M. Parabola. Martin, parabola. Brandon Felix. Anthony D, last pass. Woo! Math skills right there. Equidistant points that are from where? The focus and the directrix. That is correct. There it is. Equidistant points, they make up a parabola. We took notes of that. You don't need that anymore. We got that, right? Okay? And we know that what is not a parabola? Well, a circle, a square, a line, and so on and so forth. Okay? Then we got into deriving the quadratic formula. Remember these? You're like, oh yeah, Mr. Q, I love these. So we got our diagram, and then from there, we said that distance 1 is the same as distance 2. Distance 1, all the work. Distance 2, all the work. We said each one equal to each other because we said distance 1 is equal to distance 2. That's exactly what you said on those videos that you submitted, right? And we came up with a formula or an equation, x squared equals 4py. Okay? That's the equation that we're going to use for our parabola. So, before we get started, at the top right or left, wherever you have space, copy this, please. Vertical parabola. Vertical parabola. Once again, we're not going to use the coordinate planes yet, but we're taking notes on the space that you have on the side of that for right now, way at the top. Vertical parabola in blue. What does that look like? It looks like this. X squared equals 4py. 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 That's a vertical parabola. Now, turn to your neighbor, and with your hand, motion, what is vertical? What is vertical? Motion, what is vertical? Yeah, don't hit them, just motion. Yeah. Motion, what is vertical? And I see everybody going up and down. Is that correct? All right, so write your utensils down, look up to the screen. Before I show you the parabola, which is either up and down, look up, here's other ways that the equation might look like. You don't have to copy this. Like this. You're going to see some that look like that. But do you see that it has an x squared? Yes. Here's another way that's going to look like this. Do you see an x squared? Yes. So whenever we're talking about a vertical parabola, it has what? X squared. Okay? So this is what the parabola looks like. Did everybody agree? It's going either up or also it's going which way? Down. Vertical. It either goes up or it goes down. And here's the directrix. There it is, directrix. Okay? So, on your paper, on the right side, copy horizontal parabola. Horizontal parabola. And right now, don't copy any of this yet. We just copy the first equation, right? Vertical parabola and the first equation. Okay? So on the right of that, in red, horizontal parabola. So let me trigger your noodle. Ready? Here it goes. If for horizontal parabolas we have x squared, x squared, x squared. Tell your neighbor what we start with now for horizontal parabola. Rylan. Close, that's a cubic. Close, that's over here, x squared. Y squared, copy that. Y squared equals 4px. And if you notice, very similar. The only thing, for vertical, we start with x squared. For horizontal, we start with y squared. And show your neighbor horizontal, what that looks like, horizontal. Yeah, side to side, side to side. So here's other ways that that equation looks like this, like that, and look at the parabola. It goes to one side or to the other side, and the directrix looks like this. So what is it I need you to copy? Just copy this one underneath the vertical parabola and this one underneath the horizontal parabola. This one in blue and this one in red. Copy that. So vertical parabola, horizontal parabola. Are we there so far? Okay. So before we go any further, right now I'm going to focus on vertical parabola. And once again, vertical parabolas are going to open either up or they're going to open down. Horizontal parabola opens to one side or to the other side. But notice that the directrix stays in the same spot. The directrix stays in the same spot. Okay? So it's going to become clear in a little bit. So we're going to focus on these two for right now. But before we get to this problem, look up to the screen. Write your utensils down. Very important. Here we go. So I'm going to try and give you one set of vision that I want you to see. In the following problems, they're going to give us a focus and they're going to give us a directrix. Okay? Everybody with me so far? Okay? So, directrix. They're going to ask us to write an equation and also to graph. But they're going to ask you to graph it, and the question is, Mr. Q, how am I going to know if it's a horizontal or a vertical parabola? By looking at the directrix. Are we there so far? And let's go back to the previous one. Look up. For vertical parabolas, the directrix starts with y equal to a number. That's why, look at this line. If I was to give you an equation that looks like y equals 5, how does that line look when you graph it? You go to 5 of y and it looks what? Straight, right? And look at the directrix for the vertical. X equals a number. X equals a number. It's kind of like if I said, what does that line look like if I said x equals -7? You go to -7 and it's what? Up and down. Is that correct? All right. So that's how you're going to know which kind of parabola you're looking at. So let me go back to this. So think about directrix. If I was to say focus, they're going to give you a focus, a coordinate, but you're going to focus right now on the directrix. What if I said y equals 3? Tell your neighbor how that directrix is going to graph. How does that look like? All right. Looks like we got it. Selena, how is that going to look, that directrix? Yeah, she went like this, which means like this. So what does that mean, guys? That the parabola is either going to open what? Up or down. So what equation matches that? X squared equals 4py. See, there's a lot of concepts here going on, so I'm just trying to clarify this before we actually go to do the work. All right, here it goes again. Look up to the screen. Oh, sorry. My goodness. Hold on. I don't know what happened. My computer did like a reset or something. Here it goes again. If the directrix is as follows, x equals -12. So you know how that line looks like. How does this line look like? Everyone, up and down, right? So it's going to look like this, which is vertical, which means the parabola is going to be side to side or horizontal. And what is this? Y squared equals 4px. You're like, oh snap. Okay, let me make a mental note, Mr. Q. All right. Here it goes again. Ready? X equals 1/2. So neighbor, the equation you're going to do for that one. Looks like Martin's got it. Okay, Martin. Brandon's got it. All right, Brandon. All right, Brandon, Darty, which equation? Y squared equals 4px. Hands if you agree with that? That is correct. And so on and so forth. So, writing utensils down, look up to the screen. focus 0, 2, directrix, y equals negative 2. Tell your neighbor, what equation shall we use for that one? John, go. What equation? Gianni. X squared equals 4py. Hands, do you agree with that? That is correct, because the directrix is going what? Side to side, which means the parabola is going to be here or here, which is what? An x squared parabola. Look at the next one. Look up. So you remember the equation to use for that one. Kimberly, go. Hands, if you agree with that? That is correct, because this one is x negative 5, so it's over here. That means it opens like this. That means this is a y squared. One last one before we get started. Tell your neighbor what equation to use for that one. Okay? So, Brandon, Felix, you already went. Oh, no. X squared equals 4py. Hands, have you got that? All right, so with that said, on your paper, copy example 1. Write the entire thing. Write and graph the equation of the parabola passing through the point of origin, focus 0, 2, and directrix y equals negative 2. So write it either at top or next to one of the coordinate planes that we're going to use. Yeah, we also did the other one. Yeah. Yeah, so write the whole thing, at least so you can have this with the entire words, because that's exactly how the home plate is going to go. Huh? No. This. Next to the graph that you made, copy this, example 1. The words that says, write and graph the equation of the parabola passing through the point of origin, focus 0, 2, directrix y equals negative 2. Here we go. Y'all ready? All right, here goes the process. Everybody follow along, okay? It reads, write and graph the equation of the parabola that's passing through the point of origin. So think about it. Tell your neighbor what the point of origin is. What is the point of origin? It's what? 0, 0. Yeah, so a parabola that passes through 0, 0 with focus 0, 2 and directrix y equals negative 2. Okay, so to get started, I want us first to write our equation. Oh, it's frozen? Let it go. Let it go. Maybe because it's kind of chill in here. All right, so tell your neighbor which equation we're going to write if the directrix is y equals negative 2. Which equation do we use? Everyone, x squared equals 4py. That is correct. Write it down. So step 1, you're going to look at your directrix and write your equation. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, we need to leave this in terms just of x and y. That means we need to get rid of this letter p, or the variable p. So change this variable p to red, and I want you to underline the focus in red. What does that mean, Mr. Q? That means that any value here that is not 0, you're going to substitute for what? For p. Therefore, this is going to read x squared equals 4 times parentheses y. What goes inside the parentheses, everyone? 2. Let's simplify that. Our new equation is x squared equals 8y. So, here goes the process one more time. Step 1, you look at the directrix, you write your equation. Step 2, substitute the focus into p and simplify. Step 3, now we're done. This is our equation, this one. So, write our equation, we're done. It's this one, put a little asterisk so that you know that that's our equation that we're going to work with. And now we can graph. However, this looks kind of funky. So that means we're going to use a table. So tell your neighbor the domain that we're going to use for the table. What's the domain? -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. This is exactly how the home plate is going to go. So, since we're going to substitute x values, look, I'm even going to use an arrow so you can see that where we're going to substitute. We're going to substitute values for x. All these for x. That means we need to open up parentheses squared equals 8y and substitute all these values. Let's start with which one first? -2. So let's start with -2. I'm going to do that in green. So, Martin, -2 squared. 4 equals 8y. We need to solve for y. So what do? Divide by 8, divide by 8. We're left with y equals 4/8. Can we simplify that? 1/2. That goes right here. 1/2. Let's do it again. Parentheses squared equals 8y. Next value that I'm going to substitute is what? -1. Martin, -1 squared. 1 equals 8y. To solve for y, what do? Divide by 8. So y equals 1/8. Let me move this up a bit. Let's do it again. Parentheses squared equals 8y. What's my next value, everyone? 0. 0 squared is 0 equals to 8y. Divide by 8. So therefore y equals what? 0. So here's a present from me to you. Ready? That's all the work we have to do. Why, Mr. Q? Because it's a parabola. A parabola, once you find your vertex, everything else is reflected. That means the values are the same. So tell your neighbor what to write here and here. What do we write there and there? Yeah, 1/8 and 1/2. So, now that we have all our information for the table, and we have our equation already done, now we're ready to graph. To graph, here it goes. Pay attention. First, let's plot our focus in red. What's our focus? 0, 2. 0, 2. Our directrix in blue. Y equals -2. Y equals -2, which is over here. And it's a straight line going through -2. And lastly, we're done with the focus. We're done with the directrix. What else can we plot? Look up. What did they say it's going through? It's going through which point? Origin. So plot your point at the origin. And the rest is history. Let's plot these points right here. Here it goes. -2 of x, half of y. -2 of x, half of y. I'm going to do that in green. Next one, Negative 1 of x, 1/8 of y. Negative 1 of x, 1/8. Very close to the x-axis. The next one is 0, 0. That's our origin. 1, 1/8. 2 and 1/2. And now we can see our parabola going through it. So, before I move on, tell your neighbor the process of the whole thing, from top to bottom. Get them started, please. Before we go to the next one, talk it over to your neighbor. Give them the process of the whole thing. What's the process? Talk it over to your neighbor. All right, we got it? Yes, from 1 to 5, I'll come to you with this process. All right, let's do another one just to make sure we got the process. Here we go. Copy on the next coordinate plane, the one below that. Example 1 super cube. You don't have to copy all the words anymore. Just write focus 0, -3, and directrix y equals 3. Once again, focus 0, -3, directrix y equals 3. All right? So, get me started, please. What is the first thing we do? Maya, G. You write x squared equals 4py because we look at the directrix and it was y equals. Hands if you got that so far. Okay. So far so good. Step 2. Oh my goodness. Step 2. Trinity, what do I do next? Substitute p with -3 from the focus, so I change this to red. So therefore, x squared equals 4 parentheses y, and it's, you said -3, so therefore this is x squared equals -12. What? Sorry. -12 y. Hands, have you got that by yourself? Okay. Next step. Pass someone, Trinity. And by the way, I'm going to put an asterisk here because we're done with writing our equation. Me? Okay, and I'm passing it back to Trinity. What do I do next? Make your table x and y, and we use domain -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And we substitute values, yes? All right. So, start with the first one, -2. Martin, -2 squared equals -12y. To solve for y, what do I do? Divide by -12. Y equals -4/12 or -1/3. That is correct. Let's do another one. Parentheses squared equals -12y. Next value is -1, Martin. 1 equals -12y. Divide -12. So y equals -1/12. -1/12. 0 squared, -12y. And we know that y is what? 0. So what goes here and here, Anna? -1/12 and -1/3. That is correct. Hands, if you got that by yourself. All right, are we ready to graph? All right, guide me with that, please? Anna, pass someone. Martin, what do I graph first? Very good. The OG, okay, origin, okay, 0, 0. And then focus, which is 0, -3. And then directrix in blue, which is going through y equals 3. And then yeah, all the points. So -2, -1/3. -2, -1/3 is right here. Next one, -1, -1/12, very close to the axes. 0, 0, 1, 1/12, and 2 and -1/3. From 1 to 5, I'll come to right up to right there. 4s, 5s, 4s, 5s, okay. Now let me show you something really quick before we move on. Look up to the screen. I want you to see what I see. Okay. Here he goes. Look at the previous one. Look at the parabola and look at the focus. Look at the parabola, look at the focus. So, if you were to tell someone by looking at the directrix and the focus, what would you say that the parabola opens what? Look at those two. Look at these two. The parabola opens what? What would you say to somebody that walks in? The parabola opens what? All right. Who went last? Martin, pass someone. Brandon Doherty. The parabola opens what? Parabola, write that down, opens towards focus. Or you can say away from what? The directrix. Do you guys see that? It's away from the directrix towards the focus. Look at this one over here. Towards the focus, away from the directrix. Okay? All right. So far, so good. Let's move on. Example 2. Focus 5, 0. Directrix x equals -5. Be careful with this one. Focus 5, 0. Directrix x equals -5. All right? So, turn to your neighbor, let them know what equation you're going to write for that one by looking at the directrix. Jacob, squared. What am I going to write for the equation? Hands, if you got that? That is correct. Let's continue. And now we're going to substitute what, everyone? Instead of P, what do I substitute for P? Tell your neighbor. Everyone? The 5, right? Okay, so this is y squared equals 4 parentheses x. And instead of P, we're going to substitute the 5. Okay? Therefore, y squared equals 20x. Put a little asterisk because we're done writing our equation. Next, we need a table. X, Y. Writing utensils down. Look up to the screen before you move forward. Look up. Look up. Look up. For these two examples that we did, we had x squared, and we substitute values for that x squared. What do we have now? So are we going to put values for x? No, we put values for what? Y. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Woo-wee. And now we're going to substitute values for y here. All right? So, parentheses squared equals 20x. My first value is -2. Martin, -2 squared equals 20x, and then by 20. Simplify, x equals 1/5. That is correct, 1/5. Next, parentheses squared equals 20x. Next value is -1. Martin, 1 equals 20x. Divide by 20. So x equals 120. 1/20th. The next one, of course, is 0, 0, because it's going through the point of origin. Tell your neighbor what to write for the last two values, please. Last two values. Yeah, 1/20th and 1/5, because they repeat, right? All right, walk us through the graphene. Anthony D, go. -5 of x going vertical. All right. There it is. And then 5, 0, our focus. 0, 0. And then we plot our points. Here we go. 1/5, -2. 1/5 of x is right here. And -2 of y is down here. Next one, 1/20th of x, -1 of y. 1/20th, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1/20th, and 2, 1/5. Hold on before you leave. Question, is the parabola opening towards the focus? Yes. So the only difference between the x squared and the y squared, for the y squared on the table, make sure you have values for y to substitute. Your home plate for tonight is 6 of these, so make sure you go to the Nearpod presentation. Enjoy your home plate. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.